This is the S5 Mark II X, the video-focused version of the S5 Mark II. It is finally here, and this might just be the best camera that Panasonic have ever made. Essentially, this is the same camera as the regular S5 Mark II, but with a list of extra features aimed at professional video use. So we're going to go through each of those new features in a sec, but first, let's just recap all of the features that this actually shares with the regular S5 Mark II, as Panasonic have really thrown the kitchen sink at this camera. They have their new hybrid autofocus system, which we've all been waiting for years now, and it is everything we've been asking for. It's a fantastic system, just as good as what we've seen from Canon and Sony. So this has really leveled that playing field when it comes to autofocus between the brands. We can also record up to 6K with this in 420 10-bit, including a really nice 6K 3:2 aspect ratio mode, which I love for work where I know I'm going to want to be able to repurpose it for vertical video. That extra vertical height is just great to have. It means you can crop it off for normal 16:9 video and have a bit more space for your vertical video. I wish more cameras did that. Plus there's things which all Lumix cameras are pretty good at. We have up to 4 channels of audio with really nicely laid out controls, easy to see levels while recording, and of course their XLR top unit. They've got fantastic exposure tools inside like waveform and vector scope, although I'd love to see them add false color. These are just really nice cameras to use for video work. But all of that is true for the regular S5 Mark II. Let's go over what is new in the S5 Mark II X. So the first thing you notice is this sleek new black paint finish. They've blacked out all the logos, the dials on the top and the buttons on the back. Not entirely, especially the dials and buttons. You can still read them, they just aren't quite as bold as the original. It's an interesting idea and one I haven't seen a camera company do before. And it does look really stylish. But to be honest, I also love the way that the regular camera looks. And I'm not alone. I did a quick poll around the office when the camera first arrived, and it was fascinating to see people's different opinions. Very split. Some people loved the new all black look. Some people thought that the camera lost a bit of its character and much preferred the original, especially the red detailing around the edges. In fact, the original did just come out in front in the poll. Realistically, people aren't choosing this camera or that one for its looks though. I just find it quite interesting how much it's split the crowd. Something that people will be buying the X for specifically though is ProRes support. Internally, you can do 1080p ProRes 422 or 422 HQ in 25 or 50p, which is really useful. But plug in an SSD drive to record onto and you get a huge amount more than that. You can get up to 5.8K 25p in both 422 and HQ. They are huge files though. Even normal 422 is 1.1 gigabits a second, and you're limited to 30 minutes of record time at once. But if you're doing long recordings, you would need a huge amount of storage space anyway to be using these modes, so I'm not sure that's something people would realistically be doing anyway. We also get some really nice 3.3K APS-C modes, which are 4:3 aspect ratio. Excellent for anamorphic work. And of course we get regular 4K with the full sensor. Annoyingly though, these are only DCI 4K, no UHD. Hopefully that's going to be added in a firmware update, as UHD is a much more common aspect ratio for most people than DCI 4K is. But apart from that, this is a very complete suite of ProRes options, and it will be a really nice workflow. Record straight onto your SSD drives, which are pretty cheap really anyway compared to most styles of media, and then you can just start editing your project straight away once filming is done. Let's quickly look at the quality though. This is the 6K 10-bit H.265, and this is the 5.8K ProRes 422 HQ. Both look fantastic. The ProRes does have a bit more contrast and saturation, which gives it a bit more life to it straight away. You're looking at Vlog brought into Resolve and then converted to Rec 709 with a color space transform. No further grading than that. They've also added all-eye options for each of their record modes, as the regular S5 Mark II uses either long op 422 H.264 or 420 H.265. The more options, the better, of course, for professional users who need to adapt to all different kinds of work. But this has left the recording menu feeling really quite long and a bit overwhelming. There are 6 pages on this thing, and that's not even including all the ProRes or the MP4 options. What I'd definitely recommend people do is set up the My List for recording formats. You can save your most commonly used formats and create your own list to choose from, which is much better. You can also filter that big list down, which is really useful to sort through it. So Panasonic have given us everything we need in order to combat that giant list of formats. It's just funny to see that many pages of options. If the ProRes isn't enough for you though, you can also do RAW out over the HDMI, both in ProRes RAW on an Atomos device or in Blackmagic RAW on a Video Assist, which is a nice surprise. We were only expecting ProRes RAW support, but Panasonic have announced today that it will do Blackmagic RAW as well, which is fantastic, and actually surprisingly rare for a camera to be able to do both. Another trick which the S5 II X can do is live streaming. We've seen this on some of Panasonic's cameras before, like the GH5 Mark II, the GH6, BS1H. It's really clever. You can connect to their PC software over LAN to stream and even do multi-camera projects, but you can also connect directly to the internet, either over a Wi-Fi connection or USB-C tethering to your smartphone. And it can do this with some quite surprising levels of quality, with 1080p at 16 megabits a second, or even 4K 25 at 12.5 megabits a second. So who is the S5 II X for? Well, it's only £300 more than the regular S5 II, and the amount of extra functionality you get for that is pretty crazy. The regular camera is still incredibly capable, so if you wouldn't class yourself as a professional camera operator, you just need professional quality video out of your camera, this is probably the one I would go for. However, if you do class yourself as a professional video operator, I think pretty much everyone would agree that for just £300 more, you would absolutely go for the S5 II X. This is easily Panasonic's best camera yet, and I think it is a clear upgrade for any Panasonic users. And there's also easily enough features here to entice people from other mirrorless brands as well. It is a really capable camera. But let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you want to buy an S5 II X for your own work, of course, just head over to proev.co.uk. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.